I'd love to welcome you to Master Your Life, Beyond the Boardroom podcast, a place for ambitious individuals to capture proud moments on who they've become. It's a discussion that finds insights, the highs and the lows on where they have been at stages in their life. A safe space to share and openly talk about their journey. So if you're on a journey yourself and you're wanting to stretch, go further and farther than you've ever thought was possible, mastering your life is something that will connect you with your identity. I'm excited to be welcoming some very interesting guests to add value to your journey. For more information and to stay in the loop on what Master Your Life is all about and gain more value, head over to www.master-your-life.co.uk. Subscribe to my newsletter and stay in the loop. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Your Life Beyond the Boardroom. I am your host, Luke Beastall, and I have a very exciting guest with us today. He comes from Dublin, Ireland. His name is Ross. And before I kind of get into introducing him, obviously you guys know I love a little bit of an intro. I really like to know the guest, and we were just chatting a bit beforehand, but we'll get to that in this episode so you guys take some value away as well. But we connected through social media. I mean, we talk about this a lot. It was very, very powerful. I asked him the question, I was like, how did we actually meet? It was through a reel. We have got a fellow passion for ultra running. He's a coach as well, now in the fitness industry. He's actually still in full-time work. We're going to tap into that because he is in a bit of a transitional phase, and he's built a very successful online fitness business within 1 year. So I really want to kind of delve into that and kind of in a way give you guys the depths of what goes on behind closed doors, because we never truly know that until, well, we're actually in it ourselves, taking that first step. So without further ado, Ross, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me on, mate. I appreciate it.
No, listen, I'm super excited for this. And I know you were saying before, and you was like, oh, I've been overthinking it. It's my first podcast. What do I say? What do I do? I take, you said you were writing all these notes out, and then you thought, do you know what? I'm just going to go with the flow.
Yeah, I think that's the best approach, mate, to have. And like you said, you get your most authentic self out just going with it.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, I think what's going to be great about this, and I know guys tuning into this episode, look, they're in a place in their life where maybe they want some change. Maybe they're looking at the time, they're looking at the future and thinking, you know what, I just don't know where to start. I'm feeling a little bit stuck. And for you, saying that you've obviously got a full-time role, but now you've built up this online fitness business and it's going really well. It's getting to that point where you're at a point, can I go all in, can I do whatever? So I'd love to know, just as a first question to you, what got you into running a fitness business in the first place?
You know what it was, mate? It was actually me getting an online fitness coach on board.
Okay.
Was the kind of first step. I can really relate to that, Luke, because I was kind of in a bit of a rut about 3 years ago, and it wasn't until I kind of got an online coach on board that kind of everything changed for me. So a couple of things happened in my professional life, and it was one of them things where I was just fed up people having a kind of a say on my future. So that day I was like, you know what, I'm going to decide to take my future into my own hands. And that would have been about 2 years into having a coach. And then he was kind of the starter point for me to say, right, just go for it. And like we were saying, I think the kind of hardest thing to do is start. I was one of them that would, I'll start in January or I'll start on Monday, and waiting for the perfect time to start. And I just realized there is no perfect time to start. Starting is probably the hardest decision that you'll make. And that was really it, mate. 2 years in with a coach, and then I would have started my own business in January. Started it with family, doing it for free. And we've got a family wedding coming up. So I think I had 8 or 9 of my family members joining straight away. So that was good. Good to get different people in, get new people skills in as well. And then it just kind of went from there, mate.
I definitely want to unpack this a little bit because I think there's more to this, which I think will be really valuable to the guys listening as well, and even for you to reflect on more than anything. So, look, obviously you was in a rut yourself, so you made that first step to reach out to a fitness coach. I'd just love to know what made you reach out particularly to an online fitness coach. What was the hook or the kind of, I don't know, bait for you to give it a go?
I was just fed up with how I was feeling, mate. To be honest, it was one of them things that, you know, I've played sport all my life, mate, and I always had that kind of discipline around, you know, chasing a goal, and played sport at a high level up until about 16, 17. You always have that kind of discipline, and I always had that kind of purpose of chasing a goal. It wasn't really until football kind of becomes a pipe dream from around 18 to 25, kind of lost my way a little bit, and I could see it getting worse, mate, to be honest. You know, you kind of get into that routine and rut of living for the weekends, going out on a Friday and a Saturday, and then not recovering until the week after, and then kind of just repeating that cycle over again. And I think that's a vicious cycle to be in, mate. And you don't kind of realise that until you take yourself away from it. And it would have been around this time 3 years ago. Christmas is always a busy social period for everyone, mate. I think I had 4 or 5 weekends of going out, and I was just fed up with how I was feeling, mate. And it was one of them things, just decided to reach out. And even during that period, I was always in the gym. I was training like twice a week, and I was just going around in circles, mate. Literally going around in circles all the time. So, once I decided to reach out and kind of drop the ego and get a coach on board, literally everything changed.
Yeah, that's really good to hear that, you know, you was at a point in your life where you'd done the living for the weekend. That was kind of the freedom aspect for you. You know, you were going around in circles. I think as well, just you talking about that your childhood was very sporty and that you had a purpose and you had a drive and a goal. So obviously that was kind of instilled in you from a young age. So when you hired this coach, what did you learn, or what are you learning still? Because obviously I guess you've still got a coach, is for you to have that belief that you can set up your own business in fitness.
I think it was the discipline I kind of showed to everything, mate. That kind of purpose that I was lacking, that structure, that kind of accountability that I was lacking. And I used to have that. That kind of brought that back for me to say, right, you know what? From week 1 to week 12, I'm actually seeing the benefits of this inside and outside of the gym. And that self-belief just kind of started to build as the years went on. And then I actually went to college when I was 17. As soon as I left school, I did a PT course in sport and leisure management. And then I did a second year in sports and leisure management. And I never pursued it, mate. Literally, kind of spent 8 years trying to figure out what my purpose was. So it's crazy how it kind of comes full circle. But it was more so just structure, accountability around my life. I could see I was never kind of in it, mate, for a transformation picture. It was more so about improving all aspects of my life, and that's what it did.
So really, in a way then, you've given back to yourself, but now you've got that belief in you that you want to be able to give back to others. Is that right?
Yeah, I think there's no better feeling, mate, for me to be able to give back what was kind of given to me. And like I was saying, I know how someone else feels. I know how my client feels going through a process, because I kind of went through every single process on purpose to kind of see how they're feeling throughout the period of being on board with a coach. So for me to be able to give back what was given to me, and I kind of know the benefits of what health and fitness can give you. So that's the best job in the world in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely. It's clear to see and hear from you, Ross, that, you know, it really has transformed your life, and that you want to now take this in your stride. That you've had the qualification many years, but it's been able to lean into that and go, actually, you know what, I can make a living from this, but ultimately I can actually fulfill people's lives, and I can gain fulfillment and happiness from it as well, which is brilliant. So if you actually think about the old Ross, right, from 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
What would you say to Ross now?
I think you're your own worst enemy. I think sometimes you kind of just have to get out of your own way. You can talk yourself out of doing so many things, and that limited belief that you have in yourself, the only kind of limits, and it's what I've started to realize about doing ultra runs, doing marathons, the only kind of limits we have are the ones we put on ourselves, mate. I really do think that.
100%. It's definitely that. You are your own worst enemy. So just from your own experience then, obviously you've been on both sides, right? You've been surviving and you're now thriving. right? So when Ross was in survival mode, when you are or you were, I mean, I'm not saying you won't ever get in your own head again. I mean, we have those moments, but what was getting in the way? What was stopping you? What was making you feel that you was your own worst enemy? Now that you're on the other side, if you look back on reflection.
I think trying to find your purpose, mate. I think it's very, very difficult to find. You know that
Right.
kind of way. I think I lost that for a number of years, and I was always trying to get it back. Like even me starting a business, Luke, it was something that I always knew inside me that I wanted to do.
Ah,
It
okay.
was just trying to figure out what it was. And
Mm.
like I remember someone really, really close to me saying, "It's looking at you right in the face," and I was like, "No, fitness, I'm not doing it." Like so it's crazy how it kind of comes back to fruition. It was really mate trying to figure out what I enjoy doing, and I think trying to help people every day. And like I said, true health and fitness, doing it that way, I don't think there's a better job in the world.
Yeah. No, definitely, man. And yeah, sometimes it can be as simple as that staring in your
Yeah.
face. So
And it
with
was, mate. It
yeah,
literally was like, it was looking at me right in the face. And like I said, I was in the gym twice a day, mate. Like, and it was
yeah.
more so the weekends were killing that because I had no sort of goal or ambitions. I kind of gave up on all that,
Mm,
to be honest.
mm. So what do you think kept that period then for not pursuing it for 7 or 8 years? What actually delayed it for you?
I don't know. I actually don't know, man. I don't know what it was. It was sort of, I was always one that say I'll start on Monday or put things on the long finger, and when this is all lined up exactly the way I want it to look, this is when I'm going to start, and
Yeah.
that would come around, and you just wouldn't get any closer to your goal.
Right.
So that period of Monday to Friday being really, really good, going to the gym, the weekends would come around, I'd be going out drinking, and then you kind of get into that rut of living for the weekends, and then it kind of
Mm.
goes into, it's a vicious cycle, mate. Sometimes it really, really can be.
So I'm just trying to think here, and where my mind's at. We've obviously saying you always knew inside you that you wanted to be a business owner.
Yeah,
Did many people know about that?
yeah. Only really people that are close to me, man. That
Right.
that would
Okay.
really be it. But it was always sort of, the only thing I really wanted, Luke, was to have something that I could start from, build it up every day, and it would kind of be on my terms. If I put the work
Yes.
in,
Uh
I'll
huh.
get this. If I don't put the work in, it sits with me as well.
Mm.
I didn't want other people kind of having a say on my future. I always knew that I had the drive and I had the work ethic to go and be successful. And I always wanted to start my own business. Like I've tried things over and over again, mate, and failed. So that's really where it comes from.
Yeah, yeah, because I think that the reason I asked that question, and good answer by the way on that, is it's really nice to hear your kind of response. Is just that sometimes that when you say about getting in your own way, we obviously our thoughts can stay in our thoughts, and maybe we don't share, or maybe the environments we're in, the people that we're around, we probably think they probably wouldn't want to hear that I want to be a business owner or be self-employed because it's a scary thing. I mean,
It
I've
is.
spoken with many people about, have you spoken to your family about it? And they'd go, yeah, but what are you going to earn? If you've been so used to a
Yeah.
packet, and it's like, yeah, but are you sure it's going to work out? And you're like, well, I haven't even started yet. I don't even know. So, and also, even if the family members as well haven't been business owners, it's really hard to understand. It's really hard for you, somebody who's got this aspiration and goal and dream where you want to step into the unknown, right? You don't know if you're going to be a success. You don't know if you're going to earn what you're currently earning. It might take 3, 4, 5 months. So for you now, obviously, I guess you've had a conversation with your partner and your family. What did they say when you said, I'm going to settle this fitness business?
It's a tough one, mate. It really is. It's a tough one because I think people that are really, really close to you, they want you to kind of take the safe path because they want you to be
Oh, yeah.
safe for the rest of your
Yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when you say you're going to do something that's outside of the ordinary, you don't have a steady income coming in, I think that can be a worry for others. But for me, mate, I'm so locked in on my own vision. I know where this is going to go, and I have full self-belief and confidence in myself now, which I didn't have. But I
Mm.
think that when people see how driven you are, I think that will make them think a little bit differently.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just on that side now, I mean, I could really feel that, man, from you. You said confidence. God damn, I'm going to do this. So what helps you feel that confident in your life?
Mate, I don't know. I think just being so disciplined. Like I'm someone, Luke, who loves the process. I'm not
Good.
just in it for the end goal. I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely love the process. I want to fail because I think when you fail, you learn the most lessons from. Like
Mm.
I want to learn from the best I want to fail over and over again, mate, because I know that's where it's going to bring me to the next level.
Yeah, rare breed though, Ross. Rare breed.
Yeah.
What you're talking about, but I like it though. I like it as well. So let's flip it on the other side then. So obviously it took you 7 years to decide to really go in for this.
Nearly 8 years, mate.
Oh, nearly 8. Right. Okay. So when you say we've got to look at like where Ross was before, because you've got this, you got to this point now where you're on the right path, and obviously we'll tap into that more. But I want to go a little bit back in time and even go back to like childhood, like what was Ross like at school? What did you get up to? What was the things that you was doing in school, out of school? Yeah, tell me more about
that. Literally just football, mate. Football. That was it.
Same as me, really. So that's maybe why we're connected as well,
Yeah. So literally, mate, from probably just did enough in school to get by. Wasn't really a good student, didn't really realise what hard work can give you. That kind of way. I'm kind of a late bloomer to that, mate, to be honest. Always kind of worked hard growing up, always had that discipline around football. So played at a decent level up until around 16, 17, mate. And then that's when I actually left school and went to do a PT course. Did that for a year, and then I actually became an apprentice mechanic, mate, just because it was there.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I don't even want to do this. It was something that I didn't even want to enjoy, but I left that after 6 months. It's funny, mate. You look back on it now and you think, like I was saying to you, you kind of reflect on your journey. It's hard to put into words how far you can kind of come in such a short space of time. But became an apprentice mechanic, left that, mate, and went back to do a second year in sports and leisure. And I was also working part-time while I was in college in retail. So right. I would do like 4 days in retail and go to college at the same time. And then from there, mate, I went to work in a bank for 6 months, left that, and then I went back into logistics then. Had a good career in logistics, and that's where I kind of ended up.
Yeah, and obviously, just we'll go back in time a little bit, but are you still in logistics now, is it?
Still in logistics
now,
yeah.
Right, so yeah. How long you've been in logistics for?
About 4 years.
4 years, right.
Yeah.
So obviously for you then, you knew, I mean, come on, this path wasn't always going to be the path for forever or the concrete. So that really, obviously, having that fitness stare you in the face and give you that sense of like crying out, like, you're going to start or what? Obviously, you've started it. You're now obviously in a position where you're very close to fulfilling what you really want to do, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant stuff. And I think obviously going back to, mechanics, I mean, I've heard a few different roles there. So I guess at that point in your life, you didn't know where you wanted to be and what you wanted to do.
No, like I said, mate, always kind of searching for that purpose. Never could really find it. When football just became kind of a pipe dream, I was kind of always searching for what's next that's going to fulfill me, and just going from job to job. And to be honest, mate, failing and leaving, not sticking out processes, it's something that I've learned the hard way. And then you kind of find yourself in limbo a little bit, just bouncing from job to job, trying to figure out what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy. I think that's a tough place to be, mate. I really do.
Yeah. So with that, then obviously having these periods, I mean, going on to an apprenticeship of a mechanic, you're like, I didn't really want to do it. You did it, and then you obviously jumped onto a bank. Like, what did you learn from going into these roles and not really like thinking, I'm never going to stay in this anyway? What have you learned from those?
It was more so like I had gotten to in such a rut, mate, and it was getting worse over the years that I kind of just accepted that this is a job, it pays the bills.
Yeah.
And that was it, mate. It was no real purpose around it. It was kind of just me, like I said, living for the weekends, going out on a Friday and a Saturday and kind of just repeating that cycle over and over again, going into a job that I didn't like, trying to progress in that job, and there was something that would go wrong. There was always something, mate, that would hold me back or go wrong in the job. That was like, no, leave, get out. So like, it's funny the way it comes around full circle.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously you had, so I'd like to think then as a childhood, did you have a good childhood growing up?
Great childhood, mate.
Yeah.
Couldn't ask for a better childhood, yeah.
Brilliant. And would you say that you was like a likable person in with a mix, like captain, leader, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I would say so. Like we were saying, mate, up until around 17, 18, and then I felt like I kind of lost my way a bit.
This is good to actually understand, that obviously you've had this period of your life where, like say the pipe dream, the football, I can relate to that. Trust me, I kind of lost my whole identity and fell into depression once I left my football, right? So, and purpose is massive. You're absolutely right. What was the impact on your life and you as a person when you couldn't seem to find that purpose? So, I can tell from what you're saying, like you were crying out for that purpose day in, day out, but you couldn't find it. What impact did that have on you?
Big impact, mate. Big impact. I would almost just try and fit in with the crowd. Right. That kind of way. One of them things. Anywhere, the environment that I was in, I would try and do anything to kind of stay under the radar and just fit in with the crowd. I lost like you said, mate, sort of lost my identity for a number of years, I feel like. And it's only kind of when you go on a journey of self-development, mate, you kind of look back on it and you can reflect on it. But I realised how much of a rut I was in that I didn't think I was in. Do you know that kind of way? But suffered a lot with social anxiety, mate. And again, it's only since I kind of went on this journey of self-development that I've realised that just kind of doing anything to fit in with the crowd and would almost become a completely different person and lose them morals and things that I had around me.
Yeah, definitely. And this is again really good stuff that you're sharing. And obviously now you've realised, oh gosh, actually I was in more of a rut than probably I thought I was. And the fitting in part is definitely a big thing. People want to, I guess, have this fakeness or not be authentic just to be part of, like say the crowd and stuff. So I can sense that you had this bright, radiating, confident energy in your football, hardworking. Obviously, then you kind of, in a fashion, you got into the real world, right? He's like, oh, okay, now I've got to, I'm at that age where you've got to earn a bit of money, right? And then you're trying things out, obviously still, but then as a result of going down these paths, it started, I guess, really dimming your light in a way. It zapped you. And then obviously it's like somebody's got you in a ground and you're going hot, deeper, down, further. And then the impact got you in this rut position. And obviously I feel that, I mean, we was talking about this before, weren't we, on recording about, you had no confidence, which again, really relates to what you just said there about the social anxiety. What I'd love to know, because there's so many people I know who will be listening to this that will say right now in this moment that they suffer with anxiety or they suffer with that fear of judgment, or I don't dare say that, or I don't dare step up out the crowd and speak my truth because I'm scared what others may think or whatever. What did you, if you think back to your journey on those feelings of, trying to fit in, what did you actually, if you look back at it, what did you actually do it all for?
I don't know, mate, just to kind of fit in with the crowd. That's exactly it. I actually became someone that I wasn't, mate, just so I could stay under the radar. You know that kind of
under the radar. What does that mean then? Under the radar.
Socially, for me, like I was one of them, Luke, that if you go into a restaurant and someone gives you the wrong order, I would have to get someone to go and tell them to change it. Like that's
really?
That's how bad I was. Like I would walk into a room, mate, and I would feel like everyone is looking at me, and there'll be no one looking at me. You know that kind of way.
Okay.
So it was getting to that stage, and again, I've only kind of realised that the more I go on this journey of self-development. So it took a lot for me to come out of that, setting up a business and kind of going through social media and committing to that side of it as well. That was a big change for me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was going to say, we're going to get onto that, obviously, because there's no hiding, really, especially when you're running your business online. No. You've got no choice but to put you and your personality out there. So just to kind of go back, obviously, you've been in a rut. I know it might not be nice to recall on, and obviously it's not always the best thing to be discussing with people and openly talking about it, but when you was in the rut, what was a day in the life of Ross like? Or a week, you said you go out on the weekends. What was that like back then when you was...
Really good, mate, Monday to Friday. But as soon as Friday came around, it was like you drop everything to go out, and it was kind of just filling a void a little bit because you had no purpose. But from Monday to Friday, I was still training, mate, and I was like literally just going around in a circle all the time, wondering why am I never getting any closer to the goals I set for myself. Yeah. And I was just literally repeating that cycle over and over again, mate.
Yeah. So obviously you was in the 5-2 rut kind of thing.
Yeah.
5 days of trapped or slavery or whatever you want to call it in 2 days of
Yeah.
freedom. Yeah, but so I completely understand that. And so for you then, obviously look, I mean, now if we go to a bit more of the now part, obviously you're still in a full-time role. Obviously early this year, you took it upon yourself to pursue something that you're super passionate about. Obviously with the encouragement of having a coach in your corner, because
Yeah.
he's obviously done a great job of putting some belief in you to do that. What I'm trying to think of the question. What actually brought you in January to go, right, this is it, I'm doing it?
Something happened in my professional career, mate, and it was the kickstarter to me starting my own business. I was just fed up with people having a say on my future that I didn't think was validated. So that would have been in the November, and I remember it so well, mate. I was sitting in the car and I was absolutely fuming. And I was actually sitting outside the gym, and I reached out to my coach at the time. And I was like, "Look, I'm thinking about giving this a go." And he's got a really big name in the industry, and he was kind of the kickstarter to say, "You live the lifestyle now, mate. Go for it." And I was like, "Right." That was kind of the first time that I was always a talker, mate. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and I would never take action. I would always talk about it, but there was never any action around it. That was the first time, and I don't know, I can't pinpoint why it was, mate, but it just was. That was the first time where I was like, right, I'm doing this, and I just started putting building blocks in place for January, and then it just kicked on from there.
Right. This is good. This is really good. The fact that, you've actually had the courage to talk to somebody about it. The fact that you've taken that lead and gone, do you know what? Hey, look, I'm not settling for this. I'm not settling for somebody to trap me and tell me what to do and where to go with things. This is my life. This is my future. And this is what I want. And then you've put obviously stepping stones in place. So what was you feeling when, because obviously now you'd not only said something, you're actually following through with it.
Yeah, mate, relieved. It was like that purpose that I was looking for was back. Like I said, mate, the only kind of thing I ever wanted was to have something on my own and be able to go in every single day and put the work in and then reap the rewards. And that would be, it will succeed with me or it will fail with me. That kind of way. That's the only thing I always wanted. So to have that was like a dream come true, mate, to be honest. It really was.
Nice, man. A weight off your shoulders. I really like that. A sense of relief, because
I know that can be a scary time for people starting a business, but for
100%.
me, I felt a sense of relief just being able to wake up every day and pursue something that I absolutely love.
And you know what as well? The fact that obviously, you've been on the other side, you've hired an online coach, so you kind of understand a little bit about what they do as a coach as well. Obviously, you'd make it your own unique way. So then you've gone, well, I've got this full-time role that I'm committed to. I'm not in a position to scrap that, in January, because obviously you were training people for free, like you say, your family and whatever. So you can't, you obviously need money, right? So I'd love to know, with the time aspect and the energy aspect, as well as running a full-time role, how have you managed that? I mean, I know it's been a build-up process, but how have you managed that around everything else that you do as well, like training, looking after yourself? I mean, I know I don't think you go to gym twice a day now, do you? I mean, that's a lot of commitment there. So yeah, I'd just love to know.
It was tough, mate. It was tough. And it's only really been the last 2 months, Luke, where I was saying, this kind of lifestyle isn't sustainable. And that's a big step for me, because I was always someone that, I'll push through, I'm fine. And it was more so the mental aspect than the physical aspect. Trying to juggle both, like there'd be days, man, like where I've been training for the ultra marathon, I would have to get up at like 4:30 in the morning, go and do a run, work from 7 to 4, and then from 4 to like 10 o'clock, and working on the business. And that was 10 months straight, mate, like no days off, every single day. So I think you can only do that for a certain period of time before you kind of hit burnout. And again, that's a massive step for me to even say that, mate. So
massive step. So what makes that a massive step for you to say that?
Because I was always someone saying, "Oh, I'm fine. I'll push through. And then when you realize you're not Superman, mate. You can only kind of sustain that lifestyle for a period of time, and it actually kind of does more bad than good over a period of time. I think you kind of lose out on a lot. I think the business will thrive, but everything outside of that will
Yeah, I think that's a really key point, what you've just shared there. Everything else will suffer. Look, I commend and respect the work that you've done, and, there's no denying that there has to be a sacrifice.
Yeah.
If you want something to truly work, like you said, I think just for the guys listening in on this, I just want to kind of pick this point out from my side, what I'm hearing, and obviously, understanding what burnout feels like is that, yeah, you've put the hours in, right? It's 10 months of hard graft. You've got a full-time role.
Yeah.
You're then wanting to build a business. It's taken time, right? It's not just happened overnight. You've put bloody hard work in. But at the same time, what you've done, Ross, is you've not neglected yourself, which I think is a really big thing. And also, you just sharing what you've just shared, you've dropped your ego, right? That guard's dropped, and you've gone, actually, do you know what? There is more to life. I can't continue this. So for you to be aware of that very early on in running your own business is pretty impressive.
Yeah. No, it's definitely something that I've learned the hard way. And like I said, Luke, for me to even realize that I'm kind of hitting that burnout stage is massive for me. And it taught me a massive lesson as well, that, there's more to life than, working 18 hours a day on your business. Your business is your business, and it will thrive. But I think you have to kind of look at everything else outside of that as well, and making sure that they're at a good level as well.
Yeah, and no, definitely. And so I sort of, obviously you've got great support around you as well. Has there been any certain outside influence or any hard conversations that you've had to have that have maybe helped you with this, or have you just come to this decision yourself that, you can't continue this way?
I kind of came to it myself, mate. It was more so the mental aspect of going from one job to the next job. That kind of mental burnout of, you're juggling so much day to day, where then as soon as you close the laptop, you're opening up another laptop, and then it's a completely different world. And it's something that I've only realised recently, mate, to be honest, over the past month or two. Right. It's kind of like getting to that transition stage of going full time at it. And I also think, mate, to be successful, you have to go all in. You can't keep juggling things and expect you to get to the level of success that you want. I think going all in is a massive factor as well.
Yeah, definitely. And just even from this juggle aspect, I know there'll be people listening into this that have got a side hustle, or maybe it's the dream job, but it's not quite there yet. Like I say, they've got finances, they've got overheads, they've got mortgages, whatever, and they're like, I think it's just not kicking off as much. From your own experience, now that you're at a point now, you're very close to that point of going all in on this business. What have you learned about this, like, transition, that you would share to anybody out there that is either in a similar place, or they're like, I really want to start, but I'm scared that I won't have the time, or I feel that I won't be able to spend time with my kids, or whatever it may be? Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
I think you have to look at it, Luke, as a long-term process. I think you have to learn that patience is a skill, that kind of way. And it's something that I've learned early on in business. I was always ungrateful for things. Like, I would get to a certain goal in the business that I would set in 2 or 3 months. I would hit that, and I'd be like, right, what's the next thing? Would never sort of take it in and be grateful. Gratitude is something that I've only started to recently practice, actually, to be honest.
Okay.
I've started a journal every morning. I actually need to get better at it, but every morning I would journal, what am I grateful for today?
Right.
It's just the simple things. But I think patience, there was something I was listening to the other day, and it was like, don't compare your first couple of months to someone's couple of decades. I think that's very important as well.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, and that's actually really good, because you do see that, especially with the highlight stuff of social media today, and just seeing everybody out there glamour it up a little bit, make it look shiny, and like you say, you don't know, they could have been in it, like you say, a couple of decades, and you're a couple of months in and thinking, hold on a minute, maybe they've only just set up an account, maybe they've only just started social media, you're like, what, they've only been going, so no, I think that's really good. And I think the patience aspect is good, because, and I think what you're doing now, Ross, and this is something that really helped me in my journey as a coach and my day-to-day life, is the slowing down aspect.
Definitely.
But tuning in with your emotions.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, we live in a very chaotic world. Obviously, you're very fast-paced. As soon as that laptop opens, you've got another laptop to open after, because there's people waiting for a response. So it can seem like as soon as that speeds on, and then the speed don't stop. because
No.
even when you do turn down that laptop, there's probably people still messaging you. You still got social media posts to do. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. So just on that note, obviously, this is a big transition. This is a big change, which I want to pick out on. You're in a job. You don't need social media. You don't need to put yourself out there. You can just kind of do your job, clock off at a certain time. Everything's cool. Obviously, you want more than that. So then setting up your online presence from the ground up, how did that feel? Like, how did that all start out? Like, tell us more about that.
That was one of the most daunting things, mate, I've ever done in my life. Like I said, someone that was terrified of judgment, trying to set up an online page and start to put yourself out there. I would rather run 3 marathons, mate, than do that. That's kind of where I was at 6 months ago. And like we were saying before the call, it took me 6 or 7 months to even feel comfortable getting on camera. I think I commend absolutely anyone, mate, who can put themselves out there. It's such a hard thing to do. It was one of the things that was holding me back for a couple of months. Like I started the Instagram page, I think it was the end of February. And again, I was putting a couple of things out there, but I was still terrified of judgment, like I remember, mate, I got my very first client that wasn't my family at the end of February. And I was recording like a walkthrough video. And it was just literally me sitting here with the camera. And it was a 2-minute video. And it took me 14 hours, mate, to record. And I was just starting the process over and over again, and that's how bad it kind of was. And then, it just got, like you said, going through the process, mate, it gets easier. Things get easier. I would have never dreamed of being on a podcast 6 months ago. Not in a million years, mate. Like, not in a million years would you even have caught me near a camera. So I always kind of break things down, mate, to its simplest form. Can you go through the process? What can you learn through the process? How do you get from A to B? And learning to fail the right way. I think that's a big thing in business. You're gonna fail anyway. It's just about kind of picking yourself up and going again. I think that's a good trait that I have. It's one of my skills that I have. I don't mind failing and going again. It would have been from February to April. I was still terrified. And then April, my nana passed away in hospital. And it was one of them moments for me, mate, that I was just looking around the hospital and I was like, we are all on borrowed time. Literally, we're all on borrowed time. Things that you think matter don't matter. If someone doesn't like you or they have an opinion of you, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
So true.
And that was the change. So from April to now, that was kind of the starter on social media.
And do you know what? I mean, sorry for your loss. But I think as well, just that moment in your life and when that event happened, that obviously you can't control, it hit. It landed with impact. But do you know what? For the right reasons. Because it's actually carried you to where you are right now. As in, that what you just shared there about a 2-minute video taking 14 hours. That's going to be a story. That's going to be a story memory you'll tell people for forever, especially if anyone's coming out to you and going, like, you might have a client that you work with that goes, do you know what, Ross, you changed my life that much. I've got my friends now asking me if I coach. And then they might turn around to you and say, hey, I'm thinking of making this a business. And I can remember when you did it. I'm scared going in front of the camera. I'm scared of judgment. And you go, oh, here we go. I've been there. Yeah, I get it. So again, it's like the failure aspect. This has kind of been, I think, the standout so far in this podcast. What I'm taking, I hope you guys listening agree as well, is that you've made it a skill. That sounds cool, I know it sounds crazy, but like, it's like what? So if I was to have a conversation with you and you was to ask me, so Luke, what do you think I'm skilled at? I'd go, you're skilled at failing.
Yeah, good skill to have.
It's a great skill to have, man. It's absolutely. What's your unique ability? I love failing. Fall in love with failing. You talk about falling in love with the process. You're falling in love with failing. It's something that people are not willing to give a go. They're not willing to lean into that because it's fear, right? The fear of failure, the fear of judgment. All these things, we have the same thing. You obviously have had that failure from such an early age. You've kind of got knocked back down, got back up again, and you've had a bit of a transitional period. You've obviously had a bit of a period where you said you lost it, but now you've regained it. So for you now, moving forwards, obviously with where you're going and stuff, what's next for you?
Just to keep growing, man. Just to keep succeeding, keep scaling. and making this a future for my family, my girlfriend, kids to come, making sure that, I'm growing something that I love. That's the main thing for me, Luke. Growing something that you can wake up every day and say, you know what, I have my purpose. I'm changing people's lives through health and fitness. I think that's the main thing for me.
Yeah.
I was never in it for the lifestyle or the social media presence, mate. I truly, truly love changing people's lives through health and fitness. That's the
Yeah.
main thing for me.
Yeah, man, and you can definitely tell that as well, because it's definitely raw what you're sharing. It's authentic. It's not, like you say, in it for the flashy lifestyle or look at my bank account kind of thing and look at what I'm doing. You can tell it's a future. But you've been in the rut. You've come out the rut. Obviously, you're now helping people.
Yeah,
be the best.
It's funny, mate, because I kind of know firsthand what it can do for you. I've lived it. I've been through it. I've been through what going through a process can do for you. If you can just hold on for another couple of weeks, every week isn't going to be perfect. And that's a thing about going through a fitness journey as well. Every week isn't going to be, you're going to lose weight every week or you're going to have the best gym session every week. It's about going through the process. And like we said, the main thing is showing up every day for yourself more than anything.
Yeah, no, that is it. Yeah, the showing up aspect. I mean, it was getting onto this question that I wanted to ask you, because obviously now you're in two kind of parts of life at the same time, like you're employed and you're self-employed, right? So what is the hardest part of being self-employed for you?
Do you know what, mate? I can't answer that, Luke, because I love the job so much. I think starting is one of the hardest things to do. Actually committing to starting a business, that's tough. And then that period of, what am I doing? Is this working? Like, I was so lucky, mate. One of my family members, my auntie, she joined the program. And
Class.
it was someone who was never into fitness, tried every diet under the sun. And she's lost nearly 60 pounds now. That was kind of a confidence boost for me to say, if I can get her to change, I can get anyone to change. And that was one of them for me. That was like, right, you know what, this is going to work. So that was it.
Okay.
But in terms of struggles, I think you're going to struggle every day with your own business, mate, aren't you? It's kind of, like we said, the book falls with you at the end of the day. But I think gratitude, also being grateful for where you're at, only starting. I wouldn't have dreamed of being in the position that I'm at, 10 months ago, mate. So that's the main thing.
Nah, it's brilliant. I mean, obviously you can tell that, you're in a privileged position. You can tell you love what you're doing. You've worked for it. You're probably pinching yourself every day. It's a bit of a pinch me moment. You're proud. Obviously, it's brilliant to kind of hear it. And, even the hardest part, like you say, showing up, that's definitely one thing. But just because I know you went off on a bit one with the auntie, and obviously you've helped her change nearly 60 pounds, that's insane. So if she's tried all these things, I know this is a bit of a random one. What do you feel from your skill set as a coach and as a person, right? What do you feel has unlocked that door for her to be able to achieve that?
I think sustainability. I think where I come from, mate, is that I will try to build a plan into someone's lifestyle. I won't give someone solutions that, tell them to go to the gym 5 days a week if they've got 4 kids at home. They've got a busy work life. I think once you build health and fitness into your lifestyle and you're able to navigate through your work life and your family life, and that could be something so simple as just walking every day. Like, she didn't even go to the gym. She'd done that completely from walking and nutrition. That's it. So I think that's where I come in, and that's where I'm a little bit different, is that I actually listen to people's problems and then I come up with a plan then.
Yeah, I mean, what's coming to my mind as well, the Russ, is your patience.
Yeah, the people skills as well, mate, isn't it? Like, I've gotten a lot of great advice, Luke, starting off, and I think you could be the best coach in the world, but if you don't have people skills and you can't relate to people, I think you're going to struggle getting them a result.
Yeah, no, listen, absolutely. You've got to have listening skills. You've got to be, you've got to be a people person. You've got to have that energy when you're having a conversation, especially when you're passionate about something. Like, bring the energy. Don't fake it, but bring the energy. So for you, obviously, you had social anxiety. You were trying to fit in. You felt trapped. You felt stuck in a rut, and then now you're this person that is nowhere near the Ross that was a couple of years. So when you look back now, like in your own personal growth, how does it make you feel?
Good now, mate, but the 3 years haven't been just wins. It's kind of been a roller coaster. It's only been this kind of year where I feel like I'm operating at the level that I've always wanted, if that makes
Okay.
sense, mate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
You've done the groundwork.
hasn't, yeah, like I've done the groundwork for a year or two. Um, but it's only really this year where I feel a massive shift. And it just shows you, like, starting a business as well can be such a driver for you as well every day, mate.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I think obviously for you, just saying that there is again really powerful about that. You know, it's been a 3-year journey, but the 2 years have been the
Yeah,
catalyst for this year.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely. It's not, like, I think social media, and like you said, it can be very glamorized, and you're getting to this position, but you don't know what that person has gone through to get to that position.
no,
So that's one thing I want to get across. If you're going on a journey of self-development, it's not going to be plain sailing. You've got to be willing to drive and go through the process.
no, definitely. No, I think you have to understand that it's not all highs, you know. I know, again, we do
No.
like to share the highs, and it's hard to sometimes share the lows. But, you know, for you, obviously, going through this journey, obviously, you said you've had highs and lows. We've spoken about the positive. What would you say, not has been a low moment, but probably been a moment that maybe you've doubted yourself a little bit? Has any of that creeped in? Has anything kind of come your way where you've gone, oh, I don't know whether this is for me, and then you've navigated it? Has anything come like that for you?
I think sometimes you get that imposter syndrome, mate. That's
Okay,
something that I've got this year. Like, since the business has been growing, it's something like that. Am I worth doing this, or am I doing this right? You always get that little bit of self doubt. But one thing that I've realized, Luke, and it's about going through doing marathons and doing ultra marathons now. Like, once you kind of break that mental barrier of changing, you've got no limits on yourself. Once you kind of believe in yourself that much, and that's the kind of position that I'm in now. I've no doubt that I'm going to succeed. Like we said, it's kind of going through that process. I'm one that absolutely thrives in the process, mate. Thrives in it. I love it.
yeah,
Give
yeah.
me the failure, so I want to learn from them.
Feed
So
me the
that's the
failure.
main thing. That's the main thing.
Your calories come from failure, mate. I swear. No, no, it's really good, mate. Obviously, you're hearing things here. You know, falling in love with the failure, falling in love with the process, not being so outcome focused, all about the process, enjoying the highs, enjoying
Yeah,
the lows. But I think just what I've picked out here, and I think it's great that you've actually started to do this as well, because I'm sure you're doing this with your clients, is that, well, you're celebrating the wins, no matter how big or small they are. You know, you're checking in with it a little bit. You're not going, all right, yeah, okay, cool, next.
yeah.
You're actually slowing down a bit now and
And that's
working on.
something that I've learned the hard way. Like, I remember, Luke, when I did my first marathon, it would have been an hour after I was looking up ultra marathons. And like, everyone that was close to me around me was like, celebrate the win. I was like, one of my clients actually did the Dublin marathon 2 weeks ago, and he was like, I feel a little bit lost after the marathon because
Sure.
you've achieved such a big goal. You kind of go into a little bit of a rut for a week or two. You're like, what's
Yeah, yeah.
next? That kind of way. So it's something that I have learned the hard way. Since doing this ultra marathon last week, I have just kind of tried to take it in as much as possible. I think you train for so long as well, mate. You go through such a heavy training block to get to that level, and then you don't really celebrate it enough, or you don't enjoy the win enough. So this week has been the first kind of week where I've sat back and said, right, I'm going to try and enjoy this as much as possible.
And have you?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, yeah. I've tried to anyway, mate. I've tried to. I've kind of tried to just pull back on train and tried to pull back on, pushing the business as much as possible. But it's a skill that I'm still learning. Definitely.
Well, you've got the patience, man. So
Mm.
it's tying into that again a little bit, like that patience not to jump onto that next event and
Yeah.
push
I
that
haven't
out.
I haven't looked at any events yesterday. I'm not allowed until the new year, mate. That's the thing. I won't look at anything until the new year. That's the main thing.
Mate, and how's that feel?
Tough, tough. I'm someone, Luke, who chases progress every day. I need something. I need a goal in place.
Definitely.
So I think my goal now is just to continue to grow the business and invest in that as much as possible. But I'm definitely someone, when I don't have a goal in place, mate, I struggle a little bit.
No, definitely. I can relate to that 1,000,000%. But then again, it's the push and pull aspect, isn't it? If you just reflect about what you've just done, obviously you've driven an ultra marathon home.
Mm,
You've got a full-time role, you've got a self-employed role. That's all very fast and push, go hard. And obviously, yeah, the big aspects been stripped away, but it's slowing down. And then you can go, actually, do you know what? I can go all in on the
mm,
business, keep myself ticking over in preparation for the new year. Because you know this, the work that you do now is going to set you up for the new year.
Yeah, exactly. That's the plan.
No, and it's good, man. And I think if you was to, I don't know, like I don't want to say advice, but words of wisdom to the guys listening in that are inspired by your journey, man. Obviously, you know, it's great to hear what you've shared today and where you've been, but even anything that you could give to the audience if they're in a position where they're in a rut, you know, and they're a bit stuck and they're in a place that they don't enjoy getting up in the morning and going to their workplace. They want more from life. They want to do something different. What would you say to them?
Just start. Get out of your own way. Start to do little things that's going to help you get out of that rut. Like for my clients as well, mate, I always say you don't have to start off perfect, you know, because when you try and do everything at once, it kind of overwhelms you. And I've been there. If you start slow and start to implement things into your life that's going to make you feel better, well, then it only kind of takes a couple of weeks to get that feel good factor back.
Yeah, so that's it. Fill your cup. Fill your own cup up first, yeah.
Start to add things into your life that's going to give you value. It's going to give you purpose. Like for me, that was going to the gym or going out on a run. That was my kind of safety blanket, almost, you know. So
yeah, no, that's good, man. Look, it sounds so simple, doesn't it? Just start, and they're like, I know, I need to start. Yeah, but it's still that barrier for a lot of people. It's all preparation, it's all planning, it's all acceptance and making sure that everybody's like, yeah, go for it. Like maybe getting about 50 people or something before they even just jump for it. But you know, you said that you always knew that you wanted to run your own business, and you know, you wasn't seeking approval. You just obviously you'd spoken to your coach about it, but you just went out and did it.
I think you know deep down, mate, when you're not giving something your all. You know, I think you know deep down that you need to make a change. It's just about kind of implementing it. Like we said, starting is the hardest thing to do. I always say that over calls. Once you commit to making a change, every single thing that you can think of will open up for you.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant, man. And I don't think you can ever not hear that stuff enough either. You know.
No.
And it's so easy.
It sounds so simple, but it's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. No, it really is. It genuinely is, because there's so many factors, you know, that can take you away from maybe their energy. Like, I'm going to do it now, and then something happens and it stops you and stuff like that.
I think the more you leave it, the more you overthink it, mate, isn't it? And then you kind of start to think about every single thing that's going to go wrong instead of what's going to go right for you.
Yeah. But, you know, for you, though, so obviously just talking about that, obviously you had that wake-up call in a way. You had that event that happened to you that then made you think, okay, this is it. This is the final straw. Because obviously you said it's been nearly 8 years for you to kind of really get this going, but it took that one person to kind of tick you off a little bit to think, I ain't accepting this anymore.
No, that's exactly it. I think we all need them moments as well, mate. I really do. I think everybody needs a kind of kickstarter into, you know, if there's something you want to do, it's always something that's going to go wrong that's going to push you to going and doing what you really want to do. And I always felt that going through job to job, it was kind of just filling a gap, really, but it was never kind of fulfilling anything for me. So all them things that have happened have kind of led to me now. So I'm grateful for them.
Yeah, brilliant, man. It does. It's shaped you. It's kind of paved your path on your journey. But I think a lot of it's come from work on yourself, though, Russ. I mean, obviously it started with you. It started with you. It's kind of opened up that door, which I think is really clear to see and hear from what you've shared. But I think, like I say, for the guys tuning in as well, it does have to start with you. Yeah,
like getting a coach on board for me, mate, I would not be talking to you now. I would not have set up a business, and you kind of have to drop that ego as well and ask for help and figure out what's going to work for you. You know, I knew that my kind of safety blanket was the gym. It was health and fitness. So me reaching out to a coach and getting advice and then actually realizing, you know what, I actually love doing this, you know, and I could see myself doing it as well. So for me to be a client, starting off as a client to become a coach, you know, and giving back, I think that is the main thing for me.
Yeah, but I think as well, though, this is really good. But I think as well, though, it's like your subconscious got you to that stage where, you know, if you was going to hire that coach, you already thought in the back of your mind that you've already got a PT training qualification. You want to run your own business. It was though that was meant to kind of come into your life, or at least you had to get inside of yourself to go, okay, I'm going to reach out to this coach.
Yeah. But like you said, mate, it was more so the work that I was doing on myself was the main thing. That was the thing that's kind of led me to even starting a business. I think once you decide to actually invest in yourself for the first time, because I'd say there's so many people out there, mate, that don't invest in themselves or are afraid to invest in themselves. And like, the best thing you can do is invest in yourself.
Listen, man, it is the best investment is in yourself, whatever that is. You know, I think, I mean, obviously we are coaches and we know this, and we obviously guide people on their path to becoming a better version. But I think there's a lot to be said about obviously your journey and having that support and different pair of eyes and different minds in your corner to help you see and find something within you that maybe you lost for a while.
It's support as well, mate, isn't it? Support and accountability. I think that's the hidden secret to success. You know, I think someone keeping you accountable every week is going to be a massive, massive game changer for you to get over.
Yeah, no, it is, mate. It is. And I think people, obviously, again, just being open-minded to that as well, I think is key in it as well.
Absolutely. Like you said, kind of dropping your ego and asking for help. I don't think there's any harm in it.
But listen, man, there's absolutely no harm in it. It's courage more than anything. But look, Ross, we're getting towards the end of this episode, man. Obviously, you know, there's been some really class insights that I've definitely picked up on, and I know you have as well. But before we kind of get to the question that I love asking everybody at the end of the episode, where can people find you if they want to connect with you, Ross?
So mainly on Instagram, Luke, Ross Gaffney Coaching, online fitness coach. Again, I kind of work a little bit differently and try to build health and fitness into people's lifestyle. You know, figuring out how much time they actually have to train and kind of making it realistic for people, having a sustainable approach to health and fitness. I think that's the main thing. But normally on Instagram, Ross Gaffney Coaching.
Oh, fantastic, mate. But yeah, the question I love to ask, and it's obviously to do with the podcast name itself. So I'd love to know from your perspective, what does mastering your life mean to you?
Great question, mate. I think no limitations on yourself, full confidence and full self-belief. Anything you kind of set out for yourself and set big goals and achieve them. That's the main thing.
Oh man, it does actually conclude what we've spoken about very well today in terms of the no limits. Obviously, going past that, beyond your own limitations, obviously with the events that you've done, and obviously you're taking a massive risk setting up this business, and now you're flourishing on that path, man, to going in this as your main job. And it's not really, it's like you've retired, mate. How old are you?
29.
20, mate. You've retired at 29, mate. If you're going to do something you love, you know how good's that?
Yeah, I know. It's great.
Brilliant, man. Well, listen, final thing from me, it's been a pleasure to spend an hour with you on this episode, man. And thanks again for spending time with us.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
No worries. Thank you so much for tuning in on this episode. If you found this useful and it's provided value to you, if you don't mind, go onto my channel, tap follow, and keep in the loop for more podcast episodes like this. And if you want to go one step further, please leave us a positive review. It would mean the world to us, and it would help spread the message to many more people. And also, if you want to go that one step further again, tag us on socials, drop us a message. I will always respond. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.